looking back to kind of ahead of the season, we're talking about a guy named Chima Moneke, who is a UC Davis alum, potential fan favorite, exciting athletic player, but was kind of a long shot. And we had probably, I think, both come to the agreement that while the opportunity exists for this guy to somehow squeeze into the 15-man and somehow find a way to be an energy guy, maybe off the bench or something. I mean, he definitely had all the makings of being that fan favorite for those kind of reasons that I first laid out. And he kind of made the team and, played in the G League, was assigned to the G League most of the time for, good reason, I guess. When you think about it, you don't really want him to be in your rotation. He's more of a project, if anything, I think it would be fair to say.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at, what was it? January 6th, I think was Friday. Chima Moneke gets waived. And it's one of those things where that, as Mike Brown said, gives you an opportunity to look at other guys. And we'll talk about the guy that they brought in on a 10-day in a second. But sticking on Moneke here, you can't help but to think back now to kind of, that move to keep him. And I know that you weren't really a fan of it from the beginning, so I don't know if you have anything to say on this. I mean, is this just proof that was just needless? Or was that still a kind of a nice attempt to find lightning in the bottle?
No, it was just a bad move on my part. I like Chima, he was from UC Davis, which is local, so that's cool. And you wish the best for that guy, but especially just at that power forward position, that big man position where we already had a surplus of guys, where we didn't have any at the small forward position. My issue, if you're not aware, is that the Kings added Chima Moneke to their 15-man over Kent Bazemore, excluding a
proven
backup
veteran wing in the NBA, Kent Bazemore?
Yes, him.
Or Kent Blazemore.
But yes, Kent Bazemore. They didn't decide to go with him, and it just took away a backup from Harrison Barnes, who hasn't really had one in Sac. Yes, if you listen to this podcast, you've heard me say this maybe every other podcast, but now that you waive Chima, it's just like, and I don't know. Like we'll talk more about PJ Dozier in a second, but I don't know. Like, just sign him to your G League team at this point. It didn't really. I mean, he played what? I think he only played one time in meaningful minutes, and that was in they were really trying to catch lightning in a bottle in that game. It's like, all right, just throw him out there. Maybe he'll do something. The rest, I don't even know how many times he even played garbage time.
Probably once or twice. I mean, a lot of the times he was just assigned to Stockton.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe
recalled.
Yeah,
at Twitter, it's like the Kings have assigned him to Stockton. He's been recalled to the Kings. It was I don't know, it was weird. But
we'll never have that game again. Well, that was such a fun game. I mean, in terms of it was like a Twitter game. It was just like,
it was like James Ham.
There goes James again. Oh, James having a schizophrenic fit.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. I mean, Kent Bazemore's still out there. I assume he wouldn't mind coming. But,
I thought he would have gotten signed somewhere, honestly. I feel like I thought the Lakers were, well, not the Lakers, because the Lakers were looking at Jeremy Lamb, I think is who I'm thinking of. But I thought he tried out for other teams. But I don't know.
He just had that bad of a year on the Lakers last year, I guess.
He did. He did not have
a bad year. It was
very, very clearly his worst year. Just lost his job very quick. Was just a mistake prone. Like what happened to this guy?
Had the quote of the year too. After leaving the Warriors, he said, "I'm leaving the Warriors, go to the Lakers because they have a better chance of winning."
Oh my goodness!
Just and the Warriors win the championship. It's like Dennis Schroeder betting him, turning down a 4-year, $80 million contract to bet on himself, and then he gets a 1 year $6 million contract the next.
And it's so weird that you end up back on the team that you denied.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Lakers like, all right, get over here for. I don't know.
That's right. Just let me tug on your leash, Dennis.
Yeah.
Come on.
I bet it was just to like mess with them. So yeah, we'll sign you $3 million. It's like
you understand us? You're ours. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
God, I don't know. It just seems so weird, but you know.
Yeah, and more on Dennis Schroeder later in this podcast too. So stick around.
Yeah, but Chima Moneke, it's just again. I honestly take back what I said earlier. This underlines it. I take back what I said earlier, and again, I know just to tease more topics later, but I said, and I think you kind of agreed with me, but I'll take credit for it because it came out of my mouth, that I can see, and this was probably in late October, early November, I can see why they would keep Moneke to a certain extent, because that there seems like there's a bit of a potential ceiling there. Maybe you could do something with him.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of keeping Chimezie Metu, who I felt had proven he didn't have much, if any, value in the NBA, which is still more or less true, but I still think he's been the best backup 5 so far. So I mean, I take that back. And I think just cutting Chima Moneke, I'm not cutting. I got to stop saying cutting. He was waived. Waiving Moneke just kind of is an admission that was.
Can you explain the difference between waiving and cutting?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, and I was really hoping you wouldn't ask, but I think it has something to do with the fact that like you go through the waiver process, so you have to like, you don't just get signed by a team. I think you have to like get claimed, and now obviously it's not like he's getting claimed off the wazoo. So I think. And people, if you're listening to this, if you have any way of commenting, please correct us. I might do some research after this and write a whole explanation.
Can I just read it out?
Yeah, please. Am I on the right track?
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
Okay.
Waiving a player in the NBA means that you're allowing other league teams to pick them up and use them on their roster.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay, awesome. Cutting a player in the NBA is no longer using them as part of your own team's active roster. Waiving players allows for more time than just 24 hours before they must be claimed by another team. Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense.
Okay, so is that saying that are they saying that the waivering process is only 24 hours and then they're essentially cut? Is that what they're saying? Read it again.
Waiving players allows for more time than just 24 hours before they must be claimed by another team.
Yeah,
When a player is waived, it means that their contract is not yet terminated, but rather that they are on a waiver wire. So that means I think you can pick up their contract. I think you waive them, but another team can pick up their contract. I think when you're cut, you're essentially just like their contract's done.
That's an important note to make. That's a good point. But yes, I don't want to say I was right, but I was kind of right.
I trust you. You're the waiver wire expert, and when it comes to waiving wires, we're
Cap City Crowns waiver wire expert. The waiver wire wizard.
The waiver wire wizard. I like that. When's the waiver deadline? I expect a big article. During that. It's like everyone on the waiver. Yeah, we can get this guy through. I always confuse me. It's like, it's a trade deadline. It's like, no, the waiver wire. It's not until September 31st or August 31st in baseball. So the trade deadline was July 31st. It's like, you can still make plays. And then I remember one year the Dodgers got like Adrian Gonzalez, Josh Beckett, like all these guys from the Red Sox at the waiver wire.
Yeah. I remember the Giants got Dan Ugla, I think, that way.
From the waiver wire. Dan
I think that was
last
2012. I think that's when Scudero ended up. Well, no, wait. That might have been 20. I don't even know, dude. I saw
Dan Ugla hit a grand slam.
Dan Ugla
on the Braves. He was on the Braves. Hit a grand
Talk
slam.
about a guy that offensively played, just the way he stood in the box and his batting stance and the way he'd swing the bat. Just a violent game to him.
Yeah.
in a middle infielder. I just think that's such an interesting juxtaposition.
What? Yeah, for real. What a last name too. I mean, I think that just highlights him. Like Ugla. You Ugla. I don't know.
I'm Ugla. You Ugla. The world's Ugla. I feel like that's what he'd say. People be like, "Hey Dan, how you doing?" And he'd just say that every time. It's like, Jesus, what is that?
You're right, Dan.
It's like Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah. But enough with Dan Ugla. Back to the waiver wire. Who is your big waiver wire picks this year?
I have no idea. Chima Moneke.